Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful session of Grammar in 1 Minute live with me, Alexander. I want to believe and trust you had a great week and that you've been practicing all that we have done so far. As usual, and as always, I'd like to encourage you to send in your comment, questions, contributions, and suggestions, and I'll gladly reply you and give you the answers that you deserve. So far, as a way of a recap and waiting for more people to join in this particular session, I would like to briefly go over all that we have done so far as a way of reminder. Now, from the very beginning, we spoke about part of speech, where we say there are eight basic parts of speech when we come to the English language, where we say the first element under the part of speech is the nouns. So we say noun basically serves and functions as the object of the sentence and the subject of the sentence. So that's the primary role of a noun. It serves as the object of the sentence or the subject of the sentence. We then proceed to look at pronoun. Where we say pronouns are words that we use to replace an already mentioned noun in a sentence. So if we have a noun and we already mentioned we want to replace such a noun in the sentence, we use a pronoun to replace such a noun. We then look at the various types of pronoun. From pronoun, we proceed to look at verbs, where we say verbs are words that express an action, a state of being, or a condition. We then look at the various types or categories of verbs. Finally, from verbs, we proceed and then we talk about adjectives, where we say adjectives are words that we use to describe nouns in sentences. We then continue to look at the various types of adjectives and then the various degree of adjective, where we say we have the positive degree of an adjective, which is used to talk about or to describe one thing or person, and we look at the comparative degree of adjective, which is used to talk about two things in a sentence. We again look or proceed to look at the superlative form of adjective, where we say we use to compare or to talk about one out of a group. Now, from adjectives, we then continue to talk about adverbs, where we say an adverb is basically a word that we use to describe a verb, an adjective, or another adverb in a sentence. We then proceed to look at the different categories or types of adverbs. Currently, we are on prepositions. We are on prepositions, where we say preposition is basically a word that indicates the relationship between a noun and the other words in a sentence. A preposition is basically a word that indicates the relationship between a noun and other words in a sentence. We say prepositions help us to show the relationship or to explain the relationship of sequence, space, and logic between the object of the sentence and the rest of the sentence. It helps us to establish the link between the object of the sentence or the subject of the sentence and then the remaining parts of the sentence. We proceed to look at some few and basic rules that we need to follow if we are dealing with prepositions. Some rules that we need to follow when we are dealing with prepositions. And then finally, last week we talked about the types, or we started with the types of prepositions. Where we say in general, we have about 6 types of prepositions. We looked at the first 3, and in today's series, we are going to conclude on the remaining parts. So this is briefly just as a way of recap. And as always, I would like to encourage you to share the links with your friends, invite them in, send in your comment, click the like button. I want to hear from you, so I'm expecting your suggestions, your contribution, or anything that you would like to say about what we've treated or the topics that we've talked about so far in our series of Grammar in 1 Minute Live with me, Alexander. So under the types of prepositions, last week, we said the first type of preposition is what we refer to as the single or the simple preposition. The single or the simple preposition, where we say a single preposition is a preposition that consists of just one word. A preposition that consists of just one word is referred to as a single preposition. We looked at some examples of single prepositions to be in, on, at, for, of, from, up, after, over, under, with. Now, all these words, once they are single words, we put them in the bracket of single prepositions because they are just one word. So a one-word preposition is referred to as a single preposition. And then from the single preposition, we proceed to look at a double preposition. We proceed to look at a double preposition, where we say a double preposition is a preposition that consists of more than one word. A preposition that consists of more than one word is referred to as a double preposition. So we then proceed to look at some few examples of a double preposition to be within, into, up to. These are just some few examples of a double preposition. Then finally, as of last week, we looked at a compound preposition. We looked at a compound preposition, where we say a compound preposition consists of more than two words. A compound preposition consists of more than two words. So we look at some examples to be on behalf of. So where we say on behalf of consists of three words, which is on, behalf, and of, which all these words coming together to form what we call a compound preposition. We looked at another example to be in front of. In front of. Now, in front of also consists of three words, that is in, front, and then of. Now, all these words, when we put them together, since there are three, they form what we call a compound preposition. Now, in today's series, we want to look at a participle preposition. A participle preposition, that is what we want to look at today. A participle preposition. A participle preposition. Now, when we say a participle basically is a word that ends with either en or an ing. A word that ends with an en or an ing. A word that ends with en or an ing serves as a participle. So participle preposition consists of words that ends with an ing. So if you have words like regarding, now regarding, the verb is to regard. So once regard, you add ing to it, it becomes a participle, meaning because of the presence of the ing. So if you are using the word regarding in a sentence, regarding is serving as a participle preposition because it is ending with an ing. Another word is concerning. Concerning. Concern is a word. Once we add ing to it, it becomes a preposition. So we call this particular classes of words participle preposition because of the presence of the ing at the end of it. The final example that we want to look at under the participle preposition is considering. 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 Now, to consider is a verb. So once we add an ing to the verb consider, it becomes considering. So once considering, it's used in this particular context. Considering serves as a participle preposition. Considering serves as a participle preposition. It is very, very important to take notice of it. But they are not words that we often use in sentences as prepositions. So we need to understand that under the types of preposition. So that's the fourth element under the types of preposition. So remember, we've talked about the simple or the single preposition. We've talked about the double preposition. We've talked about the compound preposition. And we've now spoken about the participle preposition, where we say the participle prepositions are verbs that ends with an ing or an en. The next type of preposition that we want to talk about today is what we call a disguised preposition. A disguised preposition. A disguised preposition. Now, so when we say a disguised preposition is a preposition that is not directly used or implemented in a sentence, but rather mentioned indirectly. A disguised preposition is a preposition that is not directly used or implemented in a sentence, but it is used indirectly. Now, in the common one that we know, but we don't really know, is when we want to talk about time. We always say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Now, the word O before the clock there, the O stands for off, which is a preposition. But in this case, in this sentence, we don't say 5 o'clock. We disguise this particular preposition by replacing the off in a sentence with an O. That is how come we have, in relation to time, we say 5 o'clock. So the O there is disguised, the off supposed to be there is disguised as an O, which is not directly implemented in the sentence. So that's how come we have the word 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So the O in that particular sentence stands for off. The O stands for off. So a disguised preposition can change. Example, by. The word by can be disguised to be in a sentence. The word by as a disguised preposition can be a be in the sentence, It's important we pay attention to it and get to really appreciate how wonderful it is. So I'm going to give you another example of a preposition that is disguised. So we say by can change into be, on can change into a. So a preposition on can change into a. A preposition on can change into a. So he got a holiday package. He got a holiday package from the company. He got a holiday package from the company. Now, in this particular sentence, he got a holiday package. Now, this a is a preposition on that is disguised in this particular context, which does not have a direct implication on the sentence. So, on is disguised as a in the sentence. So, we call this particular type of prepositions as a disguised preposition. So the basic or the common type of disguised prepositions that we use or we often use is a preposition by, which can change into be, on, which changes into a, and then off, which changes into o, as in o'clock. Our final type of preposition that we talk about, or that we're going to talk about, is what we refer to as the phrase prepositions. A phrase preposition. That's our final type of preposition that we talk about. Now, when we say a phrase is a group of words without a verb. A phrase is a group of words without a noun or a verb. A group of words without a verb is referred to as a phrase. So a phrase preposition, some people call it a phrasal preposition, is a preposition, a group of words that begins with a preposition. A group of words that begins with a preposition, referred to as a phrase preposition. So basically, group of words used with the force of a single preposition. So when this group of words come together, or we put them together and we use them as a single preposition, they form what we call a phrase preposition. And it is very, very important to understand that a phrase does not have a verb in it. Group of words without a verb is referred to as a phrase. So if a group of words without a verb begins with a preposition, we refer to this particular classes of words as a phrase preposition. An example of phrase preposition could be according to. According to. So according is, remember, ending with an ing as a participle preposition with a single preposition of. This forms a phrase preposition. A phrase preposition is a group of words or a group of phrases with a preposition. They form what you call a phrase preposition. Example, another example is by virtue of. By virtue of. Now you'll notice that from this particular sentence we have by, which is a preposition, virtue of. So this particular group of words come together to form what we call a single preposition. Now when they form the single preposition, we refer to these particular classes of words as one unit as a phrase preposition. So as a way of summarizing all that we've talked about under the types of prepositions, we say there are 6 basic or common types of prepositions. But we say the first one is the single preposition. Prepositions made up of just one word. We have a double preposition. Preposition made up of 2 words. We have a compound preposition, a preposition made up of more than 2 words. Then we have a participle preposition, where we say a participle preposition is a verb ending with an en or an ing. Then we look at a disguised preposition, where we say a disguised preposition does not have a direct impact on the sentence, but it changes its form. And we look at the example to be by can change to be, on can change to a, off can change into o, as in o'clock. Then finally, we look at a phrase preposition, where we say a phrase is a group of words without a verb in it. So a group of words with a preposition, any of preposition, is referred to as a phrase preposition. So examples to be by means of, owing to, with a view to, in place of, in front of, in spite of, instead of, in order to, by virtue of, and then by way of. All these group of words serve as a single unit used as a preposition. So this brings us to the end of the types of prepositions. As a way of preparing and psyching you for next week, we're going to talk about the classes or classifications of prepositions, where we say prepositions can be classified according to time. So we have preposition of time, we have preposition of place and direction, and the other element. I again want to use this opportunity to thank you so much for making the time to join this wonderful session, and to encourage you to send in your comments, your contributions, your suggestions, and everything bothering your mind with regards to grammar. And I'll reply you with the answers that you deserve. And I want to encourage you once again to continue practicing, because it is with practice that you speak better. So continue making use of all the things that we've talked about from the very beginning to this very moment. If you encounter any challenge, any difficulty, just send in your questions and your contributions. And again, want to use this opportunity to introduce Peruma Academy to you. If you have the passion and desire to learn English language, I encourage you to go online and look for Peruma Academy, enroll, and your desire to speak English, your desire to acquire the skill and the ability to effectively communicate with people in English will be greatly achieved. Till then, I wish you the very best of the day and the rest of the week. Stay blessed, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.